Hello and welcome to Shell Point Today for Wednesday, September 30th. I'm Adam Brown. On today's show, we will listen as Herb Sklar talks about color, color, color in his upcoming art class. We'll revisit fitness coordinator Hanna Hosterman for an advanced class of balance and mobility. And Anna Smith from FineMark Bank will talk about changing your mailing address. But first, we want to remind you that tomorrow is the time to audition for the Fall Spot Play Readers group. If you have an interest in play reading, then this is your chance to participate in the Over the River and Through the Woods production that will be presented on November 12th. This upbeat, touching, and hilarious script is about two Italian families whose strong values are a stark contrast to the morals of today. To audition for this production, contact Ruth Duber of Periwinkle at 433-9520. Also tomorrow, the Photo Club meets at 2:15 in the Social Center. Join us if you have an interest in improving your photography skills or meeting others who love to learn and share new techniques. For this month's Critics Wall, bring an 8x10 photo on the topic of architecture. For more information, you can call Dottie Morrison at 337-4015. Calling all World War II veterans. Florida Weekly is honoring local World War II vets in a special Veterans Day issue. Shell Point would like to recognize its resident World War II veterans by submitting names, branch, rank, and station during the war. If you are willing to participate, please contact Sarah Nadal at 454-2071 by Monday, October 5th. Tomorrow is the first day of October, and that means that the Palm Grill at the Woodlands reopens. The Palm Grill is the perfect solution for everything from a quick but satisfying lunch to a fine, relaxing dinner. Attentive personal service complement the delicious meals served in this beautiful lakefront setting. One-of-a-kind appetizers, chef specials, and desserts set this dining experience apart from all others. For more information, give them a call at 454-2059. Herb Sklar wants to talk to you about color. In his 6-week Academy art class, he can show you how to make hundreds of colors from only 3 tubes of acrylic paint. You'll make primary, secondary, and tertiary color wheels. Complementary colors will be explored as well as when to use cool and warm colors. You'll learn about hues, tints, shades, tones, saturation values. Whew, no wonder it's a 6-week class. Here's Herb as he talks with Terry Kolath about the upcoming class.
Hi, I'm here today with Herb Sklar, art instructor in the Academy of Lifelong Learning, among other things he does so well. And we're talking about a class he's going to teach, color, color, color. Thanks for joining me, Herb.
You're more than welcome.
I love color. I love it. And I love what you do with it and how you talk about it. And I love this new way of looking at how much paint you actually need these days to paint something.
Well, when you take this class, you're going to be free of having to carry tons and tons of tubes of paints with you. From the 3 primaries and a tube of white, we make all the colors, including 3 different kind of blacks and browns. And the advantage of that is you don't have to carry the paint, like you said, but you buy a tube of light magenta, or how often you use it, it's going to dry up before you get to use it. And this is the way they did it during the Renaissance, because there was no black and none of these sophisticated colors. They had to mix their own colors, and it's a much more subtle black. It's much and not as harsh. So yes, we're going to do that, and then we're going to go through the psychology of color. Besides learning to mix the colors, browns have different effect, blues have a different effect, and we're going to go through all of that. Remember Picasso went through the blue period? Yeah, so that's basically what the class is about. It's going to free you to and save you a lot of money in the long run in buying paints.
How often do you think about that, Herb, when you're painting? I know you do a lot of painting. You do a lot of photography too, but in your painting, how often do you think of what emotions a color is going to pull out of us?
I think it's a little subconsciously I do, but I'm also looking for the warms, which we're going to get into against the cools. Because when you start placing a warm color against a cool color, you get what they call a 3-dimensional pop. So I'm very conscious of that. Yeah.
Well, I love that you can, in one class, and this goes on for a little while, 6 Wednesdays, in one class, people can actually learn about color learn a lot about
Well,
color.
we start with the basics. We make a color wheel, and then we go from there.
And isn't that, in a way, it sounds like maybe going backwards to back in the day of the Renaissance, but in a way, it also sounds like going through an understanding of color and is important before you just pull 3 primary colors in different ways.
I find now that I don't think I could use ready mixed colors because it's not going to be exactly the way I want it. And I can mix that color to exactly the way I want it and the right shade of it too, because you can get the right color, and if the shade's off, it's wrong. If it's too light or too dark. So it has to be the right color and it has to be the right value.
So you're not only talking about a color, red and blue makes purple, but you're talking about what shade of purple, the intensity of the purple.
Correct.
Pretty interesting.
Yes, so.
Once again, we thank you for taking us on this journey with color in the Academy of Lifelong Learning.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Sign up quickly if you're interested. The class starts October 14th.
On Monday, we talked about the beginner's class on balance and mobility. Fitness coordinator Hanna Hosterman returns now to talk about tomorrow's advanced class, which is a fall prevention class for those not currently using a walking device to help them get around. Class participants will be standing, lifting small weights, walking, and balancing without the assistance of something to hold on to. Posture, flexibility of feet, and leg strength will all be addressed. Here's Hanna to talk about the class.
Hi, I'm Heather Battey with Resort Services. Today I'm here with Hanna Hosterman, one of our personal trainers and fitness coordinators. We're going to be talking about Balance and Mobility Advanced. It used to be called Level 2, and we've now changed the class to Advanced. Hanna, why did you decide to change the name?
I decided to change the name because I wanted to work with people who maybe struggle with getting around just a little bit without, walking devices. Maybe they don't have a walker or a cane, but maybe they feel a little unsturdy when they get out, maybe to the grocery store, walking to their car, and maybe they want to get back into golf again, or maybe there's a certain, hobby they really enjoyed, but they're a little unsure of themselves because of their walking mobility. So I wanted to use the class to help strengthen, their muscles and get them confident in walking again, so they could get back to their hobbies and everyday life that they're used to doing.
So what would then be the difference between, say, the beginning class and then this advanced class? I know you said that there's the beginner class will have assistance, walking devices. And then what are some other things that'll be different?
So, the main thing is, like you said, that the beginners will have, the walking devices are allowed. But with the advanced class is that, I expect that they can get up and out of a chair, things like that are important, that they can stand up and maybe stand and use some weights at the same time. So we'll be using the floor a lot more often, like walking around on the floor versus, the beginner class, we'll be using the chair quite a bit and using the chair as assistance, whereas in the advanced class we'll be, walking freely on the floor, walking on our gait, maybe doing some marches and just different steps, lateral movements to get them moving.
Right, sure. I don't think a lot of people understand how important this balance and mobility is. As we age, we definitely start to get unsteady on our feet. What got you interested in working specifically with balance and falling and the mobility part of it?
I just had a passion working with seniors. I really enjoyed it, and their patience and my patience, I just felt like it worked well together.
So in balance classes, a lot of it is to prevent falls, is that correct? Okay. Can you give me maybe 2 or 3 key exercises that you would really do in this class?
Yeah, the first thing I like to do with them is to work on our shoulders. So I like to have them sit up nice and tall and put maybe just a few pound dumbbells in each hand and bring their shoulders back and do some raises with the dumbbells. The key thing is that our shoulders start to slump. And when our shoulders start to slump, our spine starts to slump. So the key thing is posture. So I do a lot of shoulder exercises, I do a lot of back exercises, and I'm always reminding them to keep their chin up. A lot of people like to look at their feet when they walk. And when they look at their feet when they're walking, they're not noticing what's really around them. So, we do a lot of back, shoulder exercises with the chin up, and then I really try to encourage them to lift their feet up, because a lot of people start doing the foot shrug. So if I can get them to bring their knees up off the ground as they walk, it kind of builds confidence that they can get through it and walk.
You do. You see that quite a bit, that people start to shuffle their feet or looking down, and you really start to hunch forward. So if you find yourself doing some of these things, whether it's slumping forward, looking down, watching where your feet are going, make sure you sign up for Balance and Mobility Advanced. This is going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays starting October 1st, and the class starts at 2:45 at the Island Health Club. Thank you so much. Stay happy and healthy and have a great day.
And now it's time for another FineMark Minute. Anna Smith talks about changing your mailing address.
Hello, I'm Anna Smith, Managing Executive at FineMark National Bank and Trust on the island. In today's FineMark Minute, we're talking about changing your mailing address if you are heading north for the summer. It's always a good idea to notify your financial institution before you leave. You want to make sure your banker has your current contact information, like your home phone number and your northern address. At FineMark, to ensure your private information stays private, we do not forward bank statements. So it is very important that you call us before you leave. If you don't notify us, your statements will likely be returned to the bank. If you don't want to worry about a paper statement and where it is being mailed, online banking is always an option. You can look at your statements anytime, from anywhere, and you will always have access to your accounts. You should also notify your mail carrier at both your Florida address and your northern address. You may also want to change your address with the post office so you receive your mail properly. If you need some assistance, you can call the post office at 1-800-ASK-USPS, or you can go online at usps.com. That's usps.com. If you have any questions, you can stop by FineMark on the island or give us a call at 461-5999. We will help you prepare for your trip north. With today's FineMark Minute, I'm Anna Smith.
And now it's time to cover all of today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hi, and welcome to the Happenings segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandler, and this is Caitlin Van Scoy, and we're going to tell you about the activities that we have here today for you at Shell Point. We have a 7:45 men's Bible study in the Osprey Room this morning, and after that we have an 8 o'clock men's round-robin doubles tennis at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. Well, this is the day Lilly & Company Jewelers will be here for their weekly jewelry service. That's at 8:45 in the Resident Activity Center. Jurassic Travel will be here from 9 till noon to help you in the egret room for your travel needs. At 9 o'clock, we have the watercolor group with Phil Hilton. That'll be down in the art studio in the tunnel. And the card making and scrapbooking group will be in the tarpon room at 9:15. At 10 o'clock, the men's round-robin doubles tennis will be at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. And the ladies' Bible study will be in the Osprey Room at 10 o'clock. At 10:15, we have the Model Yacht Sailing Club down at the Woodland Commons Lake sailing their boats. And our last activity for the morning is 11:30. We have Health Connections, Agility, and Flexibility. That's in the Health Club, and that's currently full. Now, Caitlin's going to tell you a little bit about the afternoon lineup.
Well, thanks, Bev. We start at 1 o'clock with chess. That'll be available in the Library Lounge on the island. And at 2:30, Jazz and Stuff will be giving a free concert in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. At 3 o'clock, we have Bible study in the community room of King's Crown on the island. And also at 3 o'clock, a Health Connections class is available, Pilates Stretch. That'll be in the Health Club. Indoor bocce will be played in the Health Club at 4:30 on the island. And 5 o'clock's the time for the singles table at the Crystal Dining Room. At 5:45, church choir rehearsal will be held in the choir room of the Village Church on the island. And our last Wednesday activity is prayer and praise at the Village Church at 7:15. Well, we hope you have a great day today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Terry Koleth with your Academy information for Wednesday. Shell Point Life is delivered today. Don't forget to look at the Academy article, and we still have some openings in many of the classes planned for October. At 8:30, Academy on the Go goes to Atathiki Museum at the Seminole Reservation. Court pickup will begin at 8:30 on the island. At 1 o'clock, Intermediate Bridge Session 1 continues in the game room of the Woodlands. And at 3 o'clock, our Basics Prep School continues in the Computer Center at the Woodlands.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is beef stroganoff served with egg noodles and roasted beets. The soup of the day is lentil. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a turkey Reuben with coleslaw for $7.75. The dinner special is grilled shrimp for $8.75. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church, and I'm here with Jeff Cory, who's the executive director of the Legacy Foundation here at Shell Point. And Jeff, the reason why we decided to have a conversation with you is that the church was in a really unique position very recently to be able to respond to an extraordinary need. And we were able to respond by virtue of some of the kinds of things that you all do in the Legacy Foundation. Yeah. And so I'll just share, I think probably people are starting to be aware of it. We have certainly a monumental crisis on our hands internationally with respect to displaced peoples. And as you can imagine, the humanitarian issues related to managing and providing for all of these refugees is almost overwhelming to even think about. And so that kind of has struck our congregation in a significant way. And I think you perhaps have heard we were able to do something just this past week. We were able to provide a gift of $100,000 to the Compassion and Mercy Associates, also known as CAMA Services. That's the emergency relief arm of the Christian and Missionary Alliance. The Christian and Missionary Alliance is the denomination with which the Village Church is associated, and it's also the denomination that is associated with the Legacy Foundation as well. You have those kinds of connections, and a lot of the things that we do through the Christian and Missionary Alliance have a worldwide outreach. We have churches in more than 80 countries, but people don't know that we have CAMA Services, which is the relief agency. Where anytime there's a crisis around that produces humanitarian issues, CAMA Services tends to respond to those things. And they're in the middle of the refugee crisis and have been ever since 2011. And so we were delighted to be able to respond by telling CAMA Services, writing a check for $100,000. Now,
that's fantastic.
Most churches are not in a position to do that, but we were. And tell us why we were in a position to do that.
Well, I think, Shell Point is a place of generosity, and our residents really want to make a difference in their lives, both during their lifetime and afterwards. And so we work with a lot of individuals that remember Shell Point, remember the Village Church, remember their favorite charities with benevolence that makes an impact in lives for years to come. So this is one example where people, years ago, through their planning, have decided to do something to make a difference, and then you can see that today and respond to emergencies and things like that.
That's right. So it's actually the way we were able to make that gift was because we have a line called bequests, and the legacy gifts that we receive from people as they pass on and those estates are settled goes into that line, and it grows from time to time. And even though they've given it to the church, nevertheless, the church has a heart to respond to these kinds of extraordinary crises.
Right.
And so without legacy gifts, we would be like most other churches, wringing our hands trying to figure out what can we do, and we would try to give what we can. But to be able to tell our organization, CAMA Services, that they will have $100,000 immediately available, I think is pretty exciting.
It's very exciting.
So how does your organization, the Legacy Foundation, help people really prepare for this kind of thing and be able to bless their church or their charitable organizations they connected with? Obviously, it doesn't have to be the Village Church. It could be any of the organizations that they might have associations with.
Sure. Well, we typically meet with residents to review their estate plan. Estate planning is more than just legal documents. It takes into account your family, your values, what you'd like to do with your resources, when you're gone. So we go through a process that involves conversation and getting to know a person, and then also to look at opportunities that are out there. And I think, places like Shell Point, the Village Church, people trust those organizations to do the right thing, to make a difference. People want to make sure that they're wise stewards of their resources, and so they want to invest in people and organizations that they know are going to make the right choice and really, make a difference. So we have those conversations, and sometimes a resident's ready to do something then, or maybe it might be years later where they finally decide, this is something I'd like to make sure that I put into my plan. So that I benefit the people and the charities and the organizations that really have great meaning to me.
We're glad that you are on the job and able to do those kinds of things. We're thrilled to be able to work together as well as we do. And we trust that you, as you consider your estate plans, will also consider the charitable organizations that you find to be significant in your lives and bless them in the future with your estate planning, with legacy giving, because it enables those charitable organizations to be able to respond to needs as they arise. And so good courage to all of you and blessings to you, and we hope to see you at the Village Church very soon.
Thanks for joining us for today's program. Tomorrow we will get on our feet for a balance and stability class from the bottom up with Dr. Dushak. Terry Kolath will visit with Russ Cray to talk about how to store your personal records on the computer. And Dawn Boren will give us the full rundown on what to expect in the upcoming Shell Point concert series. This has been Shell Point Today for Wednesday, September 30th. I'm Adam Brown, and from all of us here at SPTV, we hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.